Your life is boring because the energy required to improve is being used to complain. The most potent blocker of success is complaining and whinging. And it took me many years of this negative sort of mindset until I realized it. And I also don't blame myself, and you shouldn't blame yourself for it either, because we are socialized into complaining. We sort of complain, oh, it's too hot, my coffee's disgusting, things like that. And it sort of gets built into us, but we don't realize that how much it's affecting us and how much it's preventing us from living the life that we want and that we're capable of living. All this complaining and negativity hijacks you from the good that's in your life. And it might feel like innocent venting to your partner, your friends and family, but it really is manifesting it in real life. And the more you complain, the more your focus goes onto that, and the more negative your life becomes. When you stop giving your energy to all that negativity and complaining, you start to see that life becomes more joyful, and like you just start to enjoy it more. You know, if there's something to complain about, you just shrug it off and think about something positive instead. And it's like a leech that's on you, that's constantly sucking the joy from you. And once you stop giving energy to that negative, complaining mindset, it's like you rip that leash off, and all of a sudden you start to experience the joy and the happiness and the positivity. And you don't even need to do like a gratitude exercise every morning. You just need to sort of stop complaining so much, and you'll see that there's a duality in everything, and that there's good in everything. And if you just choose not to focus on the bad, you'll start to see the good. So to become someone who is an improver, someone who focuses on life, you need to question the whole attitude that you've been raised with. You have to completely escape the complaining thought loop to actually make something of your life. Complaining, even on the smallest scale, is a disease. The more you complain, the more you feed it, and the more it sucks away your spirit. Cut off its supply and watch your spirit heal. Me personally, I was a complainer and a whinger, and I sort of always was since I was a little kid. If something wasn't going my way, I would complain about it. If my knee was sore, I would complain about it. And that was just how I thought life was. One day I remember my dad and I were talking on the phone while I was driving, and then we were like complaining back and forth, like, you know, this happened, that happened, these people. We were talking about all how silly some people are, how dumb these problems are. And then we sort of stopped and we were like, what are we doing? You know, we're just complaining about things in our life, and we're focusing on the problems and not like what to actually do about them. It's like a completely useless conversation that was just bringing each other down. We decided to stop talking about problems and thinking about the problems, and instead what to do about them. And together I feel like we cracked something pretty significant, and my dad said it in a sentence that really stuck with me. Being negative and complaining is easy. You can always find something to complain about. And he's right, it is easy, and it's easy to find something that sucks and something that's bad within things. Like, that's the easy thing to do, you know. You're in an elevator and you don't know what to say. Oh, it's bloody hot today, isn't it? And it's like something so simple that you can draw from everything. And even the other day I was on this boat, and the boat driver let someone on and took like an extra minute because someone was running for the boat. And the woman beside us was like, oh God, like, we're letting another person on, are we? And it's like so easy and like rudimentary to complain about that sort of thing, but why not think about it like, what a nice driver, he let that person on. It's so easy to just focus on the bad part. Like, how many conversations have you had about social media being like a cancer on the world? It's like, yeah, there are bad parts about it, but think about the fact that people can stay connected with their family, like internationally. People are able to run businesses using like advertisements and all that sort of stuff that they're passionate about because they've unlocked the global market through social media. So it's so easy to just point at things and be like, oh, this sucks, this is so bad, it's terrible for the world. But it's thinking, maybe you're using it wrong. Maybe it's a great thing for the world when used correctly. And that's the whole idea that I want to talk about here. It's no surprise that this complaining mindset leads you nowhere, leads you to a dead end, because you complain about something, it doesn't change, you get mad at the system, or you get mad at whatever it is, and then you're just stuck in this negative, vicious cycle that you can't escape. So there are two things that's wrong with this mentality. The first is, if you wait for things to magically change just because you complain, you're going to be waiting a long time, because things don't change because you complain. If anything, they stay the same, they get worse. There's zero action. And the second thing is that a negative outlook on life will color all your experiences, and you'll miss the good because you're so focused on the bad. Like the saying about you don't notice the roses because you're so focused on the thorns. And once I deeply understood these things, I was able to make a change in my life, and I hope that you can make a change in yours as well, because this is really the crux and like an underlying tone throughout a lot of things in life and a lot of experiences that you'll go through. So I want to talk about how the path to success is flipping your complaints into solutions, and the 4 steps that you can take to start becoming an improver and stop being a complainer. Small minds criticize, great minds solve. Most people don't realize that their complaints and their problems have solutions. And if they looked at their complaints differently, they would see that if you flipped them around, your complaints would show you your solutions. For example, you ask for a promotion and you get declined. You have 2 options from here. The first one is to complain, to whinge about it, to say, they're not valuing me enough, go home, complain about it to your friends and family, come into work disgruntled the next day and do a bad job for the next few weeks or forever because you're angry that they won't give you what you deserve. And the second option is to take the feedback, take the problem and flip it and say, why did I not get the promotion? What was the feedback? And analyze that and use it as a map to what you need to do. So if they told you you're not organized enough, then go home and Google, how do I become more organized in an office career? And you see how the complaint is like the opposite of the solution, and you can sort of reverse engineer it by just looking at it differently and looking at it from a more positive lens, not getting so caught up in the complaining of it and thinking more about what can I do to solve my problem. Here it is broken into 4 steps. Step 1. Become aware of when you complain. Like anything, being aware of what's happening is the first step to creating a new and more ideal process. So you'd say, I notice I'm complaining about my salary. There's a problem that's upsetting me and I'm feeling negative. Step 2 is to find the problem within the complaint. What is the problem that you're complaining about and what needs to be fixed? The problem is that I want to be paid more because I believe I'm worth more for several reasons, but my management won't agree. So step 3 is to rationalize the problem. Break it down into a logical argument. So in this example, you'd say, the company defines the value of my work. That's the agreement when an employer pays an employee. They pay me to perform a service that they'd like, which means I have to meet their definition of a good service for them to recognize I'm worth the money. So you just want to think about it in a rational way for this step and break it down into less emotional terms, more logical. And step 4 is to use all of the above to find a solution to that problem. So how can you leverage what you know and what you've received to propose a solution to the problem? So now you've seen their feedback, you've understood the problem, which is that the company isn't seeing your work as valuable to them. So therefore, you should seek their definition of good and work to achieve that. Ask for the feedback on why they didn't give me promotion and then use that as the exact roadmap to the promotion. To summarize, you need to leave your complaining in the past. Weakness of attitude becomes a weakness of character. Complaining is the first sign of this decline. That's a quote from Albert Einstein. If someone's bothering you, don't complain about it to someone. View it as a problem that needs a solution. Why are they bothering you? What can you do about it? Can you just tell them, can you please stop bothering me, and just be done with the problem entirely? If you hate your job, don't just complain about it. Look at it as a problem, and what can you do to fix that problem? What other jobs can you start looking for? What other skills can you start building in your free time to find a new job that you might enjoy more? You see how complaining doesn't actually get anything for you. It just leaves you in this like sad, negative loop, and looking at it as a problem that needs a solution is what lets you actually act on it and improve on your situation. To summarize the 4 steps: become aware of when you complain, find the problem within that complaint, rationalize the problem, and then solve the problem. So I hope that was a pragmatic way to solve your problems. I know that's kind of meta, but I just know that complaining is something that I see every day, and I do it all the time, and it just zaps the joy from life. And I just wanted to propose a logical solution that's step by step to show you what happens when you flip your problems around. So I hope you found that useful, and I hope you enjoyed this kind of slightly shorter video. And if you liked it, leave a like, leave a comment on if you found this principle to be applicable to your life, and have you stopped complaining, and how did you find that it helped you? Because personally, it's changed basically everything for me. So yeah, subscribe to the weekly newsletter if you want these in written form as well, and see you next week.